Hello tankers, this is NK33, and again we're not in the World of Tanks client, we're in Tank Viewer, and there's a lot of interest right now in a number of premiums which have become available, and I thought I would give you my 2 cents. Now you'll notice that the Tank Viewer already has Cromwell B in it, and I figured we'd do a quick comparison to the standard Cromwell. Okay, so there's your collision model, 76 millimeters on the front of the turret, 63 on the sides and on the front, 57 on that little strip there and on the back of the turret. 44, 42, 39. So the side is a patchwork. Now you can't upgrade, because it's a premium, you can't upgrade the turret, but what I wanted to compare it to is the actual Cromwell. Now Cromwell is a slightly different beast. It's got the turret. It's got 64 on the front, so that's a slight increase, but it's got these two great big weak points, as you can see, here and here, which Cromwell B doesn't. It's got one slight vision slit problem, so it's a slight difference, but should affect your, should affect how you play the tank, because okay, those are 60. So, well, the Cromwell B, you're going to have this small area with 0. Here you've got these two bumps, which are only 60. So the front plate doesn't have any holes in it, but it does have these two weak spots. 57.2, back of the turret. But it's this side armor that you need to take a look at. Okay, it's 11 points of spaced armor on the sides. Hide the spaced armor, and let's take a look at what the armor layout on the sides is. Okay, so you've got one solid plate on the side, and you've got, over a lot of it, you've got this piece of 11-point spaced armor. So it's not the hodgepodge of plates that you get on the Cromwell B. And you also don't have that side weak point that you had on the Cromwell. So, all in all, this, to me, it looks like a pretty good tank. I mean, I'm going to be willing to admit that I purchased it, but you're going to probably enjoy this tank if you enjoy the Cromwell, or if you just like the fast mediums. Now here we have Tank Compare, and they already have Cromwell up. Now part of this is to show you how to do these kind of comparisons yourself. So if you see a premium and you're interested in it, that you can take a look at it. Now, again, it's a premium, so you can't change the stock value. But let's, on the standard Cromwell, let's look at the top and the stock. Okay, it's got a 75mm gun, and it says it's this gun. Okay, you can't get, I can't click on these because you can't get the stock gun in the standard, you can't get the 75 in the standard stock turret. You have to upgrade the turrets. So let's take a look at the gun handling stats, because something I noticed earlier. Okay, now this is the Cromwell's Mark V. This is the HV, which is the high velocity. You know, Vickers HV. This says it's the Mark V. But it's a Tier 6 Mark V, not a Tier 5 Mark V. So if you look at these two, they seem to be the same. So what it's got is, it's got the top gun in it, which is very nice. Okay, you know, the price is standard. Hit points are standard because you've got the turret. It's got 50 more hit points than the stock. Signal range is actually better than the top on the Cromwell. You know, speed, traverse, crew loadouts are the same, so you can use this one to train up. Now I showed you the armor layout, you know, how this is 64 and this is 63.5, and the side, this says is 32, but it's got that 11 points of spaced armor, which gives you much better resistance to HE than would the 42.9 points of side armor. And as I showed you, the 42.9 was one piece of a whole patchwork. Rear is roughly the same. The turret's the same. Engine power is the same. Horsepower to weight ratio the same. Now this traverse speed is a little deceptive because with the top engine you actually get a slight, and the top tracks you actually get a slight boost. So this isn't actually 36, this is just a little bit higher. But this is calculated with the top tracks and with the top engine. But you'll also notice the terrain resistance is a lot lower, which means this tank is going to be a lot more nimble than the already fairly nimble Cromwell. View range is the same. Turret traverse is the same. As I said, the gun is the top gun on the Cromwell. It's got the same rate of fire, accuracy, aim time, and the same number of rounds. These rounds are higher because this is a 57mm. Remember, I had downgraded the turret, so the best you can put in there is the 6-pounder. Now, a standard Cromwell makes a fair amount of credits, but because this is a premium, it's going to be making a lot more credits. Now, while we're here, why don't we go ahead and take a look at Russian premium, the Rudy. Okay. And we're also comparing it against an existing Russian premium. Let's go with the top values. So you've got the Rudy, you've got the standard, and then you've got the previous Russian, which is the T-34-85M. Okay. These two say they have the same gun. Again, look at the stats. Don't go by the name, because if you look at the gun handling capabilities, these two guns are supposed to be the same, but it seems more like this one. Penetration, ammo cost, speed, hit points per minute. So this gun is equivalent to the top gun, which is on the T-34, which is the 85D T5. Okay, same number of hit points, same signal range, speed's the same. This has a different crew because the radio operator is the dog. Don't ask. If you don't know the series, you won't understand. Now, this one has slightly better frontal armor. We can look at that in Tank Viewer in a moment. Side armor is the same. Slightly less engine power in the two premiums, and slightly less horsepower to weight ratio, but their traverse speed is faster, so that makes up for it. So they're going to be slower climbing a slope, but they're going to be just as nimble. Climb angle is the same. Yeah, your terrain resistance is reduced from these, so this one is definitely going to seem a lot more nimble. So increase in fire chance. View range gets a slight buff. Turret traverse. As I said, the gun is the same as the top gun on the T-34-85. Same gun handling stats. Slightly better aim time, 1/10 of a second. Now this is, I'll show you what this is in Tank Viewer. It's technically accurate, but it only refers to on the back of the tank, and you've got a few more rounds than the standard T-34. Now these values aren't available just yet. There's not enough of them. Okay, back in Tank Viewer. Now that's the Rudy, and it's got the 90mm front mandolet, 75mm on the sides, 52 on the back, 45 on the front and sides, and 40 on the rear. Now remember, you can go up here to determine your penetration, and let's go back to the collision model. So with that 45mm of armor, if you're sloped, fire straight at it at 78.5. Now this is going to be a weak point, even though it's the same armor thickness, because it's flat. 45mm of nominal armor it's only 52, and of course you've got your standard weak spots right here. Now, let's take a look at the standard KV-85, or sorry, T-34-85. Okay, 90 on the turret. It's got this cupola. This is also 90mm of armor. 75 all around. 52, I would bet, is the back. Yes. Now the thing I've noticed about these premiums is they don't have the spaced armor. You look at the Rudy, the spaced armor is different. You've got 90 here and 45 there, whereas the standard the extended turret and the good gun No, I'm wrong. It was just the extended turret. So make sure that you've got, if you're going to be doing these comparisons, make sure you've got the turret and the gun set correctly. Hey, I noob so you don't have to. It seems to have the same front layout, same two weak points. And you can see up here that that's not the Rudy. It's the standard T-34. So this tank looks very much like the Rudy. Looks very much like the top of the line T-34-85. So, you know, the Cromwell had a slightly different side armor arrangement. The Rudy just had a slightly different crew arrangement. And did it have that cupola? Let's take a look. Yep, it had the cupola with the same 90mm of armor. So basically the Rudy is a T-34-85 top fully elited with a 4-man crew instead of a 5-man crew. You know, it's not a huge difference, and I suspect that wargaming has started putting out premiums that are comparable to the existing tanks because they've eliminated the premium matchmaking. Let me give you a particularly ridiculous example. Now this is the TOG, and it gets premium matchmaking. It's a tier 6 with a huge number of hit points, but its armor layout is not very good, which means with premium matchmaking it's going to be competitive. If it didn't have premium matchmaking, it would see tier 8s, which could generate 1400 hit points of damage with 1 or 2 shots. Most tier 6s and very few tier 7s cannot, they can't do that kind of damage. So back on Tank Compare. What about the tank destroyers? The new ISU-S. Compare it to the probably what you want to compare it to is the Su-52 with the 120 millimeter gun. Because the Su-100 really isn't comparable. The Su-100Y is definitely not comparable. Now you notice that these all say retired, while that one says premium. The retired are the ones which seem to be available as gift tanks from the gift shop that you can't buy in-game with gold. And I think that's just the major difference. Okay. So that's top value for the Su-52, 152. Same number of hit points. The signal range is much better. So okay, so it's got doesn't have the top tier radio. That's the big difference. It's not fully elite. It has the same loadout. It's got slightly better armor on the front and the sides, and as you saw from the Cromwell, that may just mean a small area. Horsepower per ton are similar. Traverse speed is slightly better, but with the upgraded engine and the upgraded tracks, that may work out to be a trivial difference. Diesel engines, slightly better view range, and the guns are the same. So the new premium is basically a fully upgraded or almost fully upgraded Su-152. So if you want to get into an Su-152 or have another trainer for your Russian tank destroyer crews, then it's probably a pretty good idea to go ahead and get this. Okay, we're back. This is the Rudy. Now, as I said, one of the things that I showed you in Tank Compare is that the gun depression is not accurate. Now that is the actual gun depression, and it's -7. What happened was they gave the information on the gun depression. Let's turn that sucker around. And the maximum gun depression you can get over the back of the tank what they were saying is 4 degrees is the maximum gun depression. Not straight back, but let's move it over here. There you go. So you've got those fuel tanks. So the maximum gun depression you can get on hitting those is 4.2 unless, and this is one of the nice things about this, where you get to go look at the tanks. You position the gun right between those two oil drums, and then you get your 7 degrees of gun depression back. But you're going to get blocked by the back of the tank. So, if you need your gun depression and something's behind you, you're going to have to point the thing almost directly behind, because if you move it even slightly off, and you hit those oil drums, that seems to be what stops you. And you're limited on your gun depression. So you've only got this narrow gap between the two of them to fire, which is not good. If somebody is shooting at you from behind, you don't want them shooting straight behind you. 40 millimeters of armor, it sloped, but it's only 48. If you can get a better angle, now it goes up to 50, but your gun depression won't reach. So if they're down here and they're shooting at you, okay, yeah, that's 59 millimeters of armor from that angle, but to get your gun depression around, that's 55. And no, you're not seeing things. That is a spreadsheet. And before you all go running away screaming, saying, "You're not supposed to be teaching us stuff they teach us in school," no. I'm trying to teach you how to use the stupid things they teach you in school to help your game in World of Tanks. This is basically a spreadsheet I set up from stuff from the gift shop. Gold and credit packages, how much they cost, and therefore calculate how much gold per dollar. I mean, it's a fairly simple formula. You take how much gold you get, divide it by the dollar cost, and that gives you how much gold you get for each dollar. And as you can see, 250 is your best conversion if you want pure gold. And in this case, you get 350, but technically, you only get 15,000 gold and you get 15 million in credits. And credits are worth about 400 credits to the gold piece. So technically, this is the best deal for your total buying power. But if you want pure gold, then the 25. What's available now, and the reason I'm trying to rush this out, is there is a package of getting 4 of these premiums. The special Berlin package, which is out, and I figured I'd show you what you can do with a spreadsheet to help make your decision. So the package is this price. You get 30 days of premium. Now, you don't technically get any gold, but you get 4 garage slots, and garage slots are typically about 300 gold per garage slot. So technically, you get 1,200 gold because you're getting the garage slots, and there's the cost of the premium. The second package is you buy these separately. You've got the IS-2. You have a certain amount of gold. And in this case, I used 150 gold per garage slot. So these numbers are slightly inflated from the amount of gold that you are offered. Now, the important thing about this is the equivalent is that is the dollars minus the gold, and I use the best gold conversion price, which is 250. Then you add, the column E, which would be the price of any premium, and then add the in-game gold price. Now I don't know what that is for those. Basically you subtract all of that from your total amount, and that's the flat price for the tank. So you've either got premium, which translates to $12.59, or you get gold, and that gets translated here. Now, what you can do with a spreadsheet is you can take this, which takes that value, and one IS2, one Rudy, one Cromwell B, etc. Your premium price for days per dollars, then the gold for dollars, which is basically how much gold divided by your best price, and that gives you your final price for the package, which means you've stripped out the gold that you would get either as part of the package or for the garage slot, the premium time, and that's what the tanks in the package actually cost. And you do the same thing here. You got the price of the package, you get the price of the gold and any premium, and that's the price of the tank. You sum up the prices of the tanks in the package, and you get how much just the tanks cost. So you go from $57.60 for just the tank to $84.97 for buying them individually. And that's a pretty decent discount. Now you can do this with any of the packages that they offer. The spreadsheet, I've got it set up so these feed right in there. The names feed right in. So I just enter the data here, and the spreadsheet solves everything right there. That's the usefulness of a spreadsheet. You can figure out what the best deals are. For example, they recently had a gold deal where if you bought it in a particular way, you could buy 139,000 gold for $130, and there you get the gold efficiency of 300. It's not quite up to here, but it beats the pure gold efficiency of any of the other choices. Or you can design this, set it up for pure credits. What pure credits does is how many credits times 400 times the gold, because gold is, you can convert gold into 400 credits, and then divide that by your dollar cost, and this is the number of credits that you buy per dollar. And this is the total number of credits that you would get if you did the conversion. So you get 39,000 credits. That works out, if you converted it all to gold, to about 15.6 million credits, which is pretty good. The other spreadsheet I've got set up is, this just basically tracks my position in the XP I have in my tanks and what I need to get the next item. Now in this case what I do, you can't determine whether something is a minimum that is non-zero in this particular spreadsheet. So what I did was take the cost, and you basically have the machine say, okay, if the cost is greater than is 0 or less, it puts it up to some absolutely absurd number, which is more than the cost of a complete tank in World of Tanks. And so you get this set up, and then you ask it for the minimum here. So for example, I've got, let's go to something that's got a bunch of things. Okay, the KV-1. So I've got the gun, the second gun, the turret, the radio, the engine, and the tracks. So it'll pick whatever the minimum of that is, And this basically subtracts the XP I've got from the minimum, which tells me how much XP I need to get to the next item. Now, you don't have to follow this exactly. I may not want the 57mm. I may want to save up and get the engine. But it'll at least give you an idea on how far you have to go for each one of the items. And it also lets you see certain things that give you an advantage. For example, if I want to go from the Hetzer and get the Stug G, that's 12,435. But if I want to go from the Stug B, it's 12,640. So you get a whole series of slightly different prices, and it's even more extreme here. If I go from the Panzersniffel B, to go to the grill, it's 14,600. If I go from the Sturmpanzer 2, it's 16,300. So, tankers, this is what I was talking about. This is the new bundle that they've got out. You can buy a pile of coins that's 5,000 gold and 5 million credits. And you've got 6,200 and 6.2 million and 15,000. This is the best deal for credits and XP that you're going to see. But let's just see how good it is. So you just type in the amount, 5,000. 5 million. Yeah, that's scientific notation. 449.99. This is the same, 6.2 E3, that's thousands. 6.2 E6, that's 64.99. And the advantage that spreadsheets have is you can just copy right to there. Now you'll notice that on some of these, I don't have them here, but on some of these I've got this little dollar sign. That basically means that value is fixed. So it's F and it's fixed at 30. But in this case I don't need any of those. So, this deal here, you get 100 gold per dollar, which isn't a great conversion, but if you're after credits, it's actually not too bad. It's as good as the other. This one is interesting. It's not as good as the 5,000 for credit conversion. Now, of course, the top one is the best in terms of credit conversion. So you're not getting a great deal on the pure gold, but you're getting a pretty good deal if you want to get the credits. And so you can make the decision, based on what the spreadsheet's telling you, which deal is the best. So, you might look at this and go, "Oh wow, that's the best deal. I ought to get that." No, it isn't. So that's why I was teaching you about, showing you about spreadsheets and showing you why I had this set up for decisions in the gift shop. Now, if you can't afford any of that, that's okay. I'm not holding it against you, but the spreadsheet lets you make decisions informed decisions that you otherwise couldn't make about, what to buy, numeric analysis, and none of this is algebra or advanced math. I mean, it's all arithmetic. What the only algebraic thing in here is, knowing how to use parentheses and knowing, one or two things. The rest of this is all simple mathematics, plus and minus, division. And you can see how big that is. As I said, I noob, so you don't have to, and I never promised you I'd only teach you about World of Tanks. Noob mistake. Oh wow, that's more. Yeah, well, you're wasting money. So, I hope this has been informational or entertaining or educational. And I will see you later. Thank you. Bye.